Reports are swirling that Diddy is on the brink of a complete mental collapse after a brutal prison attack, with growing pressure closing in from every direction. Sources claim he's become a high-profile target, not just inside the prison walls, but in the broader world of Hollywood and the music industry, due to the explosive secrets he holds. Behind closed doors, whispers intensify as powerful figures desperately scramble to suppress him, fearing the devastating revelations he could expose. As paranoia, violence, and desperation reach a boiling point, the question remains, is this a man cracking under the weight of his own past, or is he being destroyed before he can drop the bombshells that could change everything?
According to a report from the Daily Mail, that's why Diddy had a breakdown. A person close to him apparently said, quote, spending the holidays behind bars was a nightmare for him. If we're to believe all this, Diddy had a meltdown in his cell and begged the guards to take him to the hospital for observation, but they refused. This same friend or person told the Daily Mail, quote, he eventually managed to calm himself down with the meditation technique he's been using while he's been behind bars. It took him a few hours of deep breathing and focusing to get out of the bad space he was in, but he finally managed it. This isn't the first time Diddy's mental health has come into question while he's been at MDC. When he first arrived, he was on suicide watch, which the U.S. Department of Justice National Institute of Corrections describes as supervisory precautions taken for suicidal inmates that require frequent observation. Diddy's suicide watch was only temporary, though. He was housed in a special protective unit of the jail after that for the first few weeks of his stay. But Diddy right now is in Gen Pop, meaning general population, the place where majority of the inmates stay. And that's where he apparently had this meltdown over the holidays, at least according to one source.
Following Jay-Z's name being dragged into the growing storm, Jennifer Lopez is now implicated in newly surfaced court filings related to the case against Diddy. The latest lawsuit lists her as both a potential witness and an alleged co-conspirator, with chilling claims that she not only knew about but was involved in a cover-up surrounding the accusations. The plaintiff alleges that during their late 90s relationship, Lopez was privy to Diddy's alleged crimes and even shown incriminating recordings. If the case goes to trial, Lopez may be forced to testify under oath, raising the stakes sky high and leaving the world to wonder. What truths will she reveal once she's under the spotlight?
But going back to Cardell Smith's filing, his notice says that Jennifer Lynn Lopez, aka J-Lo, aka Jenny from the Block, quote, will be called as a material witness and expert to Sean Combs' viewing, possession, and distribution of his sexual assault upon the plaintiff in 1997 and the orders of defendant Sean Combs forcing Jennifer Lopez to remain silent about the videotaped sexual assault of plaintiff by defendant. Plaintiff states that the material witness Jennifer Lynn Lopez, also known as J-Lo and Jenny from the Block, was engaged in a relationship with the defendant Sean Combs during 1999 and 2001, and that the sexual assault of the plaintiff was recorded, distributed, and held by the defendant at his New York residence and recording studio. And during the relationship with Jennifer Lopez, she was made privy to this video that was taken by Sean Combs and his employee Kirk Burrows. She, J-Lo, has known this video existed and was in existence and took no action to make it known to anyone in law enforcement, and that she was even questioned by New York Police Detective Derek Palmer about this matter, and that the report will show that her answers to this tape was and still remains a resounding yes to its existence. And again, Cardell Smith writes that he wants to call Officer Derek Palmer as a witness because he says Palmer is the one who questioned Lopez and believes that he will have testimony that could help his case. Now, as I mentioned, Diddy's legal team has called for this entire case to be thrown out. Cardell Smith has filed a massive response to that request that totaled more than 200 pages. Probably half of it was just straight up copies of case law that seems to support his arguments, word for word. It's something out of like a legal textbook. There's so much to slog through, but I kind of want to give you some of the highlights. So first, in addition to the claims of rape and a cover-up, Cardell Smith also claims and alleges that Combs was violent towards his loved ones. At times, Cardell Smith addresses alleged threats against his family. Other times, he says Combs actually caused serious injuries to his brother. His response reads, defendant used threats of murder to force the plaintiff to not bring the case to any court of law enforcement until the homes of the defendant were raided by Homeland Security, that the plaintiff knew it was a safe time to bring the case, and that is why we are here at this juncture. And Cardell Smith argued that fear for his own safety and the safety of his family is one of the main reasons that he waited so long to report the alleged rape and says that that reason alone should override any issue with the statute of limitations, that these claims might otherwise be time barred. And he also argues that while he's been in prison, fellow inmates and prison guards have threatened him on behalf of Sean Combs.
As the names of Jennifer Lopez, Jay-Z, and Beyoncé continue to surface in connection to the Diddy case, a palpable sense of anxiety is reportedly sweeping through the corridors of power. These billionaires and industry giants stand to lose everything if the spotlight shines too brightly on their alleged involvement. Online speculation has taken a dark turn, drawing troubling parallels to past high-profile scandals, particularly the Jeffrey Epstein case, sparking theories about what happens when the powerful fear their secrets being exposed. Meanwhile, reports of Diddy being attacked in prison and suffering a severe mental breakdown have only intensified the rumors about his safety and who might be behind the pressure. Is it all just coincidence? Or does the timing raise chilling questions about who may be desperately trying to keep the lid on a scandal that could unravel everything?
That makes sense. But you knowing Diddy personally, do you think it's possible he might take his life?
It takes a certain individual to prepare himself to do a lot of years in jail. From the lifestyle that he had, I'm not saying that he can't. I just don't see him able to do time behind bars. Maybe if he be in a camp type situation, that's a possibility. But based on the lifestyle and what he's done and what he's accomplished, if he had to go behind those bars for a lot of years, I think that he may commit suicide. He'd do an Epstein.
Why do you think he didn't pull a Russell Simmons and lead the country?
They was watching him, bruh. They was watching him. And then I think that he had to turn over his passport. Even if you own your own private jet, they have a system up there whereas that they supposed to check your passport and anything that you need to fly as if you were flying commercial.
Court filings reveal that Diddy is acutely aware of the peril to his safety behind bars, especially if anyone believes he's cooperating with federal investigators. Prosecutors argue that this fear creates a dangerous duality. Despite his legal team offering over $50 million in bail and even surrendering his passport, the judge refused to grant his release, citing the overwhelming risk. The judge pointed to Diddy's alleged history of intimidating and threatening victims, ruling that releasing him would jeopardize the safety of key witnesses. For now, Diddy remains behind bars, trapped between the looming threats within the prison walls and the relentless pressure of a case closing in on him from all sides.
The proposed bail package. A $50 million bond, co-signed by him, his mom, his sister, the mother of his oldest daughter, and his 3 adult sons. It's going to be secured by the equity in his property in Miami, Florida. Home detention, his passport will be surrendered. The government said that's insufficient. They said, look at the charges, look at the weight of the evidence that I just mentioned. They said they have allegations that he and his associates were trying to tamper with witness testimony last year so that they wouldn't cooperate with the government. What do you take away about who has the stronger argument in terms of bail?
Well, I think his counsel has done the best they possibly can. I think bringing him there voluntarily is very smart, starts them out on the right foot. But I think the last thing that you just mentioned, the interfering with witnesses.
That's the allegation, yeah.
Yeah, if that's true, or I should say, if there's real indicia that happened, I think that might tip the scales in favor of not letting him out pending trial, because I think, and you know this, I think judges take an extraordinarily dim view of that, and that might be the factor that tips the scale against him. But I think as far as a tactic, I think it was very smart to do what they did and to say, look, you know, he's here, you didn't have to track him down. He's got a real defense here. He's doing everything right, at least right now. I'm not sure it's going to be enough at the end of the day.
Diddy's attorney, Mark Agnifilo, has already announced that the defense plans to seek bail again, emphasizing that the current detention facility is far from safe. He suggested that house arrest could provide a more secure and suitable alternative. Legal experts point out that high-profile inmates accused of cooperating with authorities or facing particularly volatile charges are often considered highly vulnerable behind bars. At present, Diddy is not housed in general population but is reportedly in solitary or protective custody to safeguard his well-being. As the legal battle heats up, the fight over where and under what conditions Diddy is held could become just as pivotal as the case itself.
We made a bail appeal to Judge Carter. It did not go our way. The fight continues. We're not giving up by a long shot. I told Mr. Combs I'm going to try and get his case to trial as quickly as possible. I'm going to try and minimize the amount of time he spends in very, very difficult and I believe inhumane housing conditions in the special housing unit of the Metropolitan Detention Facility. And I'm going to do everything that I can to move his case as quickly as possible. I understand that the government has a great amount of electronic devices that they have to download and provide to me, but everything's on the government's timetable, nothing's on the defendant's timetable, and they're gonna have to accommodate me and him and give us a quick trial, and I'm gonna be pushing for that. He's ready, he's focused. He has been ready to defend this case since he first found out about this case. Nothing has changed from his perspective. I obviously would much prefer to fight this case with him out of jail, and we are going to try to bring that about through additional legal process. But wherever he is, his resolve is the same. He believes he's innocent. I believe he's innocent, and we're going to fight this case with all of our might until we don't have to fight any longer.
Sources close to Diddy suggest that a renewed push for bail may now have a better chance of success, with his legal team reportedly exhausting every possible option behind the scenes. Attention has shifted to his powerful connections, especially New York City Mayor Eric Adams, whom Diddy has openly described as a close friend. Just weeks before his arrest, Diddy was awarded the prestigious Key to the City, a gesture that now raises uncomfortable questions. While city officials have yet to confirm what they knew at the time, critics are questioning how such an honor could be granted amid an alleged federal investigation, wondering if it was part of a calculated effort to boost Diddy's public image just before his downfall. As the pressure mounts, the blurred lines between influence, optics, and accountability are coming under increasing scrutiny.
The prosecutor presented that the judge was going to allow him to be bonded out on the first get-go. Now, if he comes up with some more hearings, he might be released. But based on the evidence, they've been following him, bro. They've been tapping his phone, been having people watch him. You understand? He been coming back and forth from New York, and he don't usually be coming back to New York. And somebody was telling me that, yo, listen here, yo, he trying to get witnesses. Remember when they released that first thing of Cassie, and I said that Diddy was trying to contact people for character witnesses, people for who he had problems with before, whatever like that, and trying to talk to them in the whole 9 yards. That's when they dropped that thing with Cassie. The Homeland Security had some agency or whatever like that that deals with that, dropped that thing on Cassie to show everybody, oh, y'all want to help him? Y'all, this is what y'all want to help? This is who y'all want to, say that he ain't never did nothing. This is what you want to put your brand on? And everybody started backing up from him. Everybody was talking about, yo, man, Cassie was a gold digger. Cassie was this, that, and the third. She loved it in the whole 9 yards. And then when they seen that, all his friends or so-called friends, went away. So him not having a bond is not surprising.
Yeah, and he offered them $50 million, and they still denied his bond.
He should have waited to see what they was gonna offer. Because if he got $50 million to get him and offer that, then they think like, yo, that's too little of a money.
Some observers believe this case could be part of a much larger conspiracy, with Gene Deal suggesting that Diddy may not even be the primary target of federal investigators. According to Deal, the government might be using Diddy as leverage, a pressure point designed to bring down even more powerful figures working behind the scenes. Supporters of this theory point out that defendants in similar situations have secured bail, yet Diddy's requests have been denied 3 times, a pattern they argue isn't coincidental. Instead, they believe the strategy is to portray him as isolated, scared, and on the verge of cooperating, creating the perception that he's ready to testify. If this theory holds water, Diddy isn't the endgame at all. He's the bait, and the real target is a far bigger, much more dangerous fish lurking in the shadows.
All of this is a ploy to catch a bigger, more powerful fish.
He might get bail. Now you're wondering why I'm saying that. See, they are trying to use some of the things that happen to criminals all the time, or inmates all the time. They always, brother, they always do those impromptu searches. And in one of the cases, in this particular case, they said that when they did the impromptu search, well, they took some of his legal information, and the judge ordered them to give that back. So I guess the lawyers are going to come up with a couple of new things saying that he can't properly, have his case be properly, what do you call it when they client get they client and lawyer privileges. He can't properly do his case with, you understand, with them constantly going into jail cells, searching him, taking his legal briefs, taking his information, and then probably using this against him. But I don't believe none of that to be true. I believe that they went in there just like they do all the other inmates based on the information they had. You got to realize this, bro. They found out that Diddy was using other inmates' phone cards. Now that probably happens all the time. You understand? And he gotta be probably the smartest, dumbest person that I know, because he gotta know that those phone calls are being taped. So whatever his lawyers and them come up with, the prosecution's gonna come up with something else. So the judge is gonna wanna know, well, what did they do, when they found out he was in violations of some of this stuff that he was doing? Did they charge him with something new? Did they take some of his privileges away? What has happened in the interim of him doing this stuff that they alleged that he done? So it's gonna be a whole forestry of next week, because what they did was they held off whatever the procedures was gonna go down today. The judge say he gonna revisit this next week. So I guess, I don't know if it's Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. We'll find out what's going on, but it's gonna be something that I think it may shock the world.
In a recent episode of the PBD podcast, Fox News host Jesse Waters claimed that Fox News had received intelligence suggesting Diddy was being set up to take the fall. Waters stressed the significance of this narrative, particularly given Diddy's alleged connections to some of the most powerful figures in the country. The discussion suggested that if Diddy were to speak publicly or cooperate with authorities, the fallout could be catastrophic, potentially implicating individuals far beyond him. Whether this information is insider knowledge or high-stakes speculation, the message was clear. If Diddy talks, the ripple effects could shake the very foundations of power at the highest levels.
Bring in these people. A lot of these people were also aspiring young artists in the music industry. And then these parties were sponsored by Motown Records CEO, Universal Records CEO. This goes all the way to the top. And so you get these people in compromising situations. The drinks were laced. The videotapes were hot. And then at the end of the day, you wake up the next morning, what did I do? And then they have compromising material on you. And then they can guide your career. They could kill your career, but they got you. And it wasn't just people in the music business. As you said, there were athletes, there were celebrities, there were politicians, people from the royal family. And we were also told by the former bodyguard that Diddy was an FBI informant. Whoa. So he was a snitch and was feeding information to the feds. And we don't know what that means. We haven't been able to confirm it, but even Little Rod said it's not just like Epstein. It could be worse than Jeffrey Epstein.
Diddy is reportedly back under heightened surveillance following renewed threats to his safety, and many believe it's only a matter of time before the situation reaches a breaking point. What's fueling the confusion is the stark contrast in narratives. Just months ago, reports claimed that Diddy was paying other inmates to handle daily tasks, projecting influence and control over his environment. Now, sources allege that he's overwhelmed, under attack, and emotionally unraveling. The sudden shift doesn't add up, and that contradiction is precisely what's raising suspicions. Is this a genuine collapse under pressure, or is it part of a much larger, more complex story still unfolding behind the prison walls?
So breaking news right now, Larry, I am just getting word. People magazine says it's got a source on the inside that tells them that P. Diddy's on suicide watch tonight. Do your sources confer the same information? Are they saying it was possible?
Hey, real quickly, all that commissary stuff, he's not getting any of that because people in the SHU have an abbreviated list. So he's out of luck. No stake for him. Yeah, he is on suicide watch. This guy thought he would have went home. All of a sudden, he didn't get bond. Remember, the first night that he was there, he was like an overnight guest. When they told his bond hearing, now they checked him into the system, and reality has hit him. And I understand that he has a shrink coming by his cell to see him several times a day. And now there's talk about putting him in, it's like a bubble. It's like a cell that has like a plexiglass wall in it where they have inmates watching you. That's actually their job, to keep an eye on the inmates that are on suicide watch. Another error that I guess some warden told you this. There are sentenced inmates there. They're called cadre inmates. They don't have to be white collar inmates, but they're doing maintenance on the building. And the problem, why there's a lot of violence there, they have housing units. And they're mixing bank robbers, drug dealers, rapists with white collar people. And this is why Diddy, he can't go into a regular housing unit because somebody will take him out for sure. Somebody's gonna get a lot of street credibility out of this. People that are doing substantial time that know they're never getting out, they'll just kill a guy. No questions asked.
You think that they'd suck up to him because he's got a lot of money, and if he ever does get the commissary options, he would be able to help them.
Some people do. Because
I got to wrap it real quick.
Okay, some people do think that Diddy can help them, but this guy's going to be locked up forever. His case will probably take at least 3 years to litigate. He'll stay at MDC. There's rumors that he wants to go to Essex County Jail in New Jersey because he doesn't like MDC. He's a Marshals inmate. There's no way they're going to transfer him back and forth, I don't know, several times a week, 6 Marshals to do it. He's out of luck.
Federal prosecutors are reportedly closing in on Diddy, armed with a wealth of evidence collected from raids on his properties. As the investigation deepens, more accusers are stepping forward with chilling testimony. Attorney Ariel Mitchell-Kidd, who represents clients in this high-stakes case, has gone public with bombshell claims. She revealed that she has been informed of disturbing recorded evidence, allegedly including tapes involving well-known figures and horrifying accusations linked to Diddy's private parties. Mitchell-Kidd even suggested she was offered the chance to buy one of these tapes. Though these allegations have yet to be proven in court, their revelation has sent shockwaves through the public, heightening tensions and raising the stakes for the trial. If these tapes are introduced as evidence, it could become a game changer in what promises to be a legal showdown of unprecedented magnitude.
Is your client fearful if Diddy does get out?
As you know, I represent other clients, actual victims who have sued. Mr. Combs, Diddy, in civil court, and all of them are very apprehensive about their safety if he were to be granted bond. I am confident in the court. I am sure that the court will remain with their previous decision of no bond. I feel like the judge only gave this, let me think about it, just to not make it as obvious. But I have all the confidence in the world and the federal court in the state of New York that they will remain keeping Diddy under no bond, and that all of the victims in this case will be able to proceed sooner rather than later.
Yeah, and you mentioned, I mean, you don't just represent this man, you represent other alleged victims too and people involved. Have there been any threats made against any of your clients?
There have been threats from people on the internet, but not from, at least what we don't know, from Diddy to be directly. So my clients have, Mr. Burgess has received several death threats. My client, Mrs. Parham, has been receiving threats, but we don't know if they're just regular people from the internet or if they're actually people who were sent by Diddy.
Do you have any idea where the threats are coming from? I mean, have you done any investigation?
Well, most of the investigation leads us to a lot of burner accounts on Instagram, and we're trying to now sift through possibly working with law enforcement to try to get subpoenas to determine the IP addresses of where those threats were emanating.
So, okay, interesting. We know that the cease and desist letter has now come. Has there been any other pressure of any kind that you or your clients have felt to stop talking?
In general, I feel that the gag order, when we talk about that, Mark Agnifilio wrote about me specifically, and also all of the other plaintiffs in the civil lawsuits to try to have all of us gagged. There's pressure every day that us continuing to talk about this is putting not only our lives in jeopardy, but could be potentially used against us in a gag order.
The case against Diddy has taken a darker turn as several victims have come forward, each adding a disturbing layer to the unfolding story. One of the most significant claims comes from Thea Graves, who filed a federal lawsuit on September 24, 2024, against Diddy and his former bodyguard, Joseph Sherman. Graves alleges that in 2001, at Bad Boy Records' New York City studio, she was drugged and sexually assaulted by the two men. Her shocking testimony is backed by two additional victims who have shared eerily similar accounts of abuse. Together, these stories form a chilling and consistent pattern of misconduct, sending shockwaves through the music industry and intensifying the public's scrutiny of Diddy.
The latest woman to speak out against music mogul Sean Diddy Combs is from Harris County.
Yeah, our Rekha Mudaraj is here with more on the lawsuit that was filed yesterday. Rekha?
Len and Mia, these are the latest accusations against Sean Combs, and it comes about a week after Combs was indicted on federal charges alleging he used his business empire as a criminal enterprise. Now, yesterday, high-powered attorney Gloria Allred appeared with her client. This is Talia Graves, a Harris County resident who filed a lawsuit against Combs in New York. We are using her name because she has gone public with her claims. Now, in the lawsuit, Graves alleges back in 2001, when she was 25 years old, Combs and his head of security lured her into a meeting at a New York City recording studio where they gave her a drink that caused her to briefly lose consciousness. When she woke up, Graves says she was bound and restrained and was violently raped by Combs. The lawsuit filed Tuesday also claims the alleged assault was recorded and that the video was shown to multiple other men. Graves says she also faced multiple threats that made her stay silent for decades.
The violation I have experienced during the assault has had lasting effects on my body, causing ongoing health problems and complications. The combination of physical and emotional pain has created a cycle of suffering from which it is so hard to break free. I want to continue on this journey towards recovery and healing. I'm glad that he is locked up, but that's a temporary feeling of relief.
54-year-old Combs is in jail facing federal charges, including sex trafficking. racketeering conspiracy, and transportation to engage in prostitution. He was denied bail twice after pleading not guilty. Also, Combs' head of security, Joseph Smith, known as Big Joe, told the Daily Mail that he doesn't know Graves, calling her allegations just a, quote, money grab.
This case is rapidly escalating into one of the most explosive and jaw-dropping stories of our time. With allegations implicating some of the most influential figures in Hollywood, politics, and the music industry, it's becoming painfully clear that what's been exposed is just the tip of the iceberg. The real question now is, will Diddy manage to escape unscathed, or is he tangled in a dangerous web of power, secrets, and corruption that could silence him for good? Share your thoughts and predictions in the comments below. This story is far from finished, and each new revelation has the potential to shift the entire narrative.
And I want to start with Tania Wallace, who claims she's been at a freak off and said she saw children, and it was hard for her to say it.
It was very hard for her to say it, Ashley. So what she said was that she was flown out from LA to Miami by the Saudi prince. And they ended up eventually on Star Island at one of Diddy's parties. She says, you know, among many other things, I mean, she goes into detail. This, she says, happened in 2018. She says that she walked into the house and there was a cluster of adults around what she described as little people. And they were dressed up as Japanese Barbies. I forgot the name. It's Harak something. You can help me out here. It's a certain type of Barbie. Anyway,
I know the name, but I've forgotten it. But go ahead.
So she explained that that they were just clustered around these little people, and I kept pushing her, and she eventually said, "Look, they are little people who should not be at an adult party." And I pushed her, and it was apparent what she was saying is they were minors. Now, she didn't see anything specific that was going on with them other than that adults were kind of huddled around them. But she told just a wild story about what was going on at the house, even at 7 a.m, that this thing apparently raged all night long.
You know, it's amazing. TMZ always gets such great scoops, and this one might be one of your best as well. You got a hold of one of the Freak Off tapes. Your producers have seen it. The description is, and I'll quote, "It's porn directed by Diddy himself." And a male sex worker really sort of walks through what happened in the experiences that he had. They didn't sound illegal, but they sure seem to comport with a lot of the other stories that have been told.
Yeah. So this was a threesome. What you would ask me about earlier about Tania Wallace, she said there were more than 100 people at that party, including at least 4 celebrities. But this, what you're talking about now, was a threesome, and that's something that the U.S. attorney even referenced. And his lawyer in an earlier documentary we did, he was describing threesomes. He says it was all consensual. So yes, what we're told is that this male sex worker was flown out to various locations over a couple of years: Miami, New York, Los Angeles, and one other. And they would meet in hotel rooms, and Diddy would often watch as he would have sex with this woman who was associated with Diddy. So that seems to be what the feds are looking at right now in terms of alleged sex trafficking, if they are transporting somebody and perhaps paying them to cross state lines. That could end up being part of sex trafficking. We know that this guy got a subpoena, and he ended up not testifying before the grand jury, but talking to prosecutors, and we're told that he left that tape with them.